America during the 1900s was a very devastating time for its people. Our nation and our generation before us suffered from influenza, a depression, and 2 wars. But amidst all the chaos, one man fought for equal rights for all Americans. Today, I'm going to talk about that man, Martin Luther King Jr. So, to start, we would have to start from the very beginning. Martin was very, very educated as a young man. He attended a segregated school at the age of 15, only to graduate at age 19. But he pursued law and meds, or not meds. He wanted to become a doctor or a lawyer. But instead of pursuing those and taking many years to be educated, he decided to join his father and minister at his church. So to understand the gravity of his situation, we would have to look at what the ethics were during this time. So back in his day, it was okay to discriminate somebody due to the color of their skin. This meant that they couldn't go to the same schools, the same restaurants, or even drink from the same water fountains. So as you can imagine, it was very hard to convince people to, be equal or even share. So for Martin to pursue this, he had to be very educated, how to strategize everything, and most of all, he wanted to be peaceful about it. So this all began with the bus boycotts when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white man on the Montgomery bus. Due to this, it started a national outrage that made people walk out on bus transportation. Due to this, it lasted 381 days before the national lockout ended. Right after that, another perfect example of national disobedience was when 4 college students went to a white bar and they sat down asking for service. When refused for service, they stayed all day to ensure that they wouldn't get any business. African Americans had to maintain a lot of patience during this time. As you can imagine, going through all of this just so they wouldn't listen, they had to be tolerant to whatever came their way. This was a good example of this was when Jeremiah Reeves was tried for raping a white woman and tried before an all-white jury, only to be presumed guilty and given the death penalty. When King was asked if God approves of the death penalty, he said not at all, due to the better methods of criminology. But when Reeves was executed, King went to the state legislative stairs and silently protested in prayer. According to Alan D. Morris, a professor of sociology and an award-winning scholar, due to the white dominance in America, everybody had to take their part and nobody could step down because nobody would listen. So King went on to voice protests and speeches everywhere. His most recognized speech was his I Have a Dream speech, where he marched Washington to speak in front of 250,000 people. This was very important during his time because the nation's capital, being a black man, it was very hard for people to listen, but all these people came to listen to what he had to say. I did put a link in here, but I'm not going to play that. So King became a target because of his success. This was demonstrated many times when him and his family were put in danger. His house was firebombed due to the success of the bus boycotts in Montgomery. He was also stabbed at a book signing by a mentally ill black woman, saying that she was looking for him for years, but he was not going to press charges. His last march for his freedom, he went to Memphis, Tennessee to go against black discrimination against garbage carriers. During that march, violence broke out and store windows were broken. So King was convinced that he couldn't control his people anymore, that maybe he should quit. But instead, he decided to lead one last march, and he went back to his home to prepare. While in his city, he was assassinated by an escaped convict named James Earl Ray. So due to this broke out riots across the nation because they didn't even know if this protest was going to continue on. Today I have taught you guys a little bit about success as a young man, why his success was so important and how it has affected us today. I hope that today you guys have learned a little bit, maybe something you haven't known. And just to think, every Martin Luther King Day, just think, he sacrificed so much just to give us all equal rights. And the free day is nice. Thank you.